kind of an open valley to our left. You'll see it later. This is where the Jordan River comes out of the Hula Valley. And when it comes out of the Hula Valley, it's a very narrow, like canyon. And then up in the Hula Valley, it's flat with high hills all around it, a basin to collect the water. We could talk about more. This might be the place where they were fishing after the death of Jesus. And, you know, they went back to Galilee. They were told to go back to Galilee. And they went back to Galilee, and so the followers are up here. And he's already appeared to them in Jerusalem right away. He appeared on the road to Emmaus to two of them. And now he's here on the shore, and he's preparing some fish. And they're out in the boat. And if you take an earlier story, we have where they were fishing all night, and they didn't catch anything. And he said to them, they were out there not far from here, throw your net on the other side. And then they caught so many fish that the boat almost sunk. Okay, right about where this pole is, or someone we're in this vicinity, there is also what we have is springs, spring-fed water. Because if there's a lot of water to the north of us, there's going to be underground water. And there's a spring, and it could be that this spring had something to do with the fish on one side of it or another, or how the fish congregated and so forth. So also it's a little hazy, but it's a very big city. You see up on top, you see a tower, and coming down to the shore is ancient Tiberias. So the upper part would be Tiberias Elite, and all of those buildings that come down to the shoreline, that's Tiberias. And Migdal is between there and Mount Arbel. Remember, Daniel just pointed out on the bus, we were on the other side. Look at my finger. Okay, I'm pointing at some real jaggedy cliffs. Does everybody see the jagged cliffs? That's Mount Arbel from this side. There's farmland up above it, and then it comes down very sharply. Down and to the left a little bit, right below it, is Migdal. It's a ancient place also. There's a modern Migdal, very nice. You can stay there. There's some Christian ministries in Migdal. But also, for people that are not familiar, Migdal is where one of the followers of Jesus was from. And we called it Mary Magdalene. Magdalene was not her last name or her family name. It was Miriam from Migdal. Okay, so Mary Magdalene would have been from this area right over here. There's a village today called Migdal, if that makes sense to you. Also, let's look back again at Arbel, and you see Arbel, very rugged cliffs, and then you see like a valley, right? And across from it is another sharp rock that comes up, and then there's those, I can't say the name, we were talking about the horns of Tittle, yeah, straight ahead up the valley. And there's a valley there that you naturally can see, and it goes a little bit to the left. If you go up that valley, you're going to have a nice clean passageway all the way to Nazareth and in that direction. Remember when we were over there near Kafar Kana and so forth, and I pointed like if you went, you could go down. Now you could go up. Here's something that you need to know, that this is, for many people, this is the valley of the shadow of death. And I will explain why. You see how there's a shadow there? It's because it's on the north side. You see how the sun this time of year is a little bit to the south. It still goes in the morning from the east to the west, but it's a little bit that side. So almost all, unless it's midsummer, you're going to almost always have a shadow there. In that shadow, in those rough rocks, are caves. And there were marauders in the ancient days that would live in the caves and stay in the caves. You couldn't see them if you were passing down that valley, and that valley would have been a main way to come to this area of the Galilee. So, yea, though you pass through the valley of the shadow of death, you should fear not. And you all are very familiar with this, and this may be, there's another spot maybe in the desert, this seems to make a lot of sense to me. Even if it's not, they were talking about a literal place. It wasn't just like the valley in your life. Yes, it's important to personalize it in a spiritual way, but in order for people to understand it, they all knew what the shadow of the valley of death was. Does that make sense? So it may have been under Mount Arbel. coming down into this area of the Galilee, because this was a very thriving. You got sweet water, you got villages all around the northern end. Across over here is the ministry of where Yeshua maybe cast the demons into the swine, and the swine went off of the cliff and went into the water. In fact, they have it marked over here, right where we turn to go up to B'nai Yosef or come down from B'nai Yosef. We'll try and remember to
Oh, I don't want wet shoes for the rest of the day. Whew. Oh my.
bad there's some trash here. So, if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm at the Sea of Galilee, where Yeshua taught. Our coach, Dennis, he was telling us that, I guess, right up, kind of past these trees here, there's a natural valley type thing. It's more of a natural, like, not an amphitheater, because an amphitheater is round, but like a theater, where it's just like half or something, where most people believe that's where Yeshua taught the Sermon on the Mount. And it's just awesome being here where, I mean, can't be sure exactly where it was, but somewhere out here, many things took place. Yeshua walked on water, Peter fell in the water, he taught many times, he fed the multitudes. Actually, one of the churches that's built around here, there's a church right there, and there's another church nearby, and I think the other one is, I forget exactly what they call it, but it's in reference to the feeding of the 5,000. So, anyway, just wanted to show you the Sea of Galilee.